allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, right. Let's see. Public comments. Anybody here? Public comments? Nobody? Right. Approval of previous board minutes.
So you'll have two sets there, the October 22nd and then November 8th for the open session.
Right.
The October 22nd didn't get approved at the November
Oh, it
8th.
didn't? Okay.
I'll make a motion, we approve the previous.
All the open and closed,
Oh.
previous, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll make a motion, we approve all the open and closed board meeting minutes.
Second.
Roll call, Pat,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Ken is absent.
Yeah, treasurer's report is Mr. Rogland. He's late.
He's running a little late. He said he'd be about 15, 20 minutes, but move forward.
That'll be fine. Correspondence reports. Donna,
So just a motion to approve those bills that you guys got to review.
make a motion to approve the bills.
A second?
Roll call, Pat,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
and Ken is absent. And then the CD is up for renewal again, and we are at, I got to do the 4.75 again, so I'm sure the board is good with just staying and hanging, right?
Do we need a motion for that, or?
No, just agree, let you know we're doing it, yep.
Yep.
Good with it?
And that's it for me.
Chief, you got a report?
Yes, thank you and good evening, everyone. Two quick items. Station 2 concrete engine bay update. The analyst concrete company came out a week and a half ago and did the core sample. I believe, Chief, they did one, and still waiting to get the analysis on that. So that will be the next step. They'll examine what the core samples gave them, and then they'll direct us on what the cause is, and then hopefully a cure. A quick update about dispatch and the Regis CAD. So it's on temporary hold due to a conversation with dispatch. They're working through some logistic issues with the CAD, and they prefer us to hold off on our end until they get their end secured up. So right now it is on hold. And that's all I had under my report.
And they haven't put any time frame on this.
No, they have not. Now, they have their board meeting, I believe, this week, so maybe some further will come from that.
Assistant Chief Sherman.
Since the last board meeting, Captain Robert Blanc has received a state incident safety officer class, his certification. One of the volunteers, Nico Basil, received his state driver operator corps, and he also received his Missouri State Bureau of EMS EMT certification. Another one, volunteers, Matt King, received his state fire service instructor 1 certification. So good for them, thank you. I sent the board 10 original policies about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And then yesterday I sent you all 10 more policies for approval. I know Director Elliott's not here tonight, so do y'all want to approve them? Do y'all want to sit on for another month?
Did you look at them?
Have you had time to look at them?
I've read through some of them, I didn't read all of them.
I think the ones that you put out, that you guys already agreed to, I think we can go ahead and approve those.
If you want to wait a month and
So
get any questions or whatever, or however you want to do it.
he's not gonna put anything out until we get a bunch?
Correct. So like I said, the first 10 been a couple weeks, the last 10 we just sent yesterday morning to you all.
Yeah, we'll just wait till next month and see what we got.
Okay. We have a short meeting with them tomorrow, so we'll kind of give them a little update what's going on there.
Okay.
We're working on some dates for an awards banquet for next year. We're kind of looking at possibly the Lions Club in Moscow. And they have Saturday openings of April 12th, May 3rd, or May 10th.
Let's see if I'm back home yet.
Or we can do these later in the year, but that's kind of the first ones that are available
Did you
next
say
year.
April 12th, what?
So we have April 12th, Saturday the May 3rd, or Saturday, May 10th right now. The later we get, we're gonna get into the end of graduation.
Right. Do we need to give them a time or a date?
We need to lock something in fairly soon, but it's not like a decision needs to be
I'm gonna
made
be
tonight.
April the 12th, so we'll get back by then. Third, I got something going, 10th is open. Either way, I don't know about you guys, but
We can check with Ken.
Yep, so I can send y'all an email
Right.
and see. And that's kind of what I have. Thank you.
hit it.
Yep.
Ms. Chief Mosier, what do we have?
So, we have a few things. Kind of exciting, have you been by Woods Fort lately?
No.
Holy cow, you would be shocked as to how far along
Check
they
it
are.
out.
Yeah, it is moving right along. We started letting them hang some drywall this week, which is pretty significant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but in other news, you did 33 inspections last month. I'm looking through here at Elite Tool, which is coming right along. Your marijuana grow facility is kicking off now. That started about a year and a half ago. He's finally getting moving. So those are coming up. I mean, you're starting to pick up again. Now, last meeting, we talked about the fee schedule, and you tabled it last meeting. We asked that you get rid of the discounts that you put on the fees during the COVID time and go to what your ordinance says is the current tabular data table. Those are the things we changed when COVID was around.
Right.
And I'm saying that you're getting ready to be impacted significantly by these deductions, primarily because they affect apartments. And right now, we've probably got 100 apartments ready for permit. So just keep that in mind. We brought it up last meeting. So have you guys had a chance to review any of that? Have you made a decision on any of that? I mean, when you changed it for COVID, it was supposed to be a temporary thing.
Right.
Yeah, and the discounts are significant. So, your budget's being impacted quite a bit by this deduction.
Huh?
I say we go back to,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, it's going back to,
so do we need
Well,
a
So,
motion?
could I ask for a motion to, a motion to go back to the original fee schedule that was in your ordinance?
I'll make a motion, we return the fee schedule to the one that is in our existing ordinance.
second it?
Roll call, Pat,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
and Ken is absent.
Okay, so that returned to normal. Now, in the last meeting, you
Will
also,
those take effect when?
Immediately.
Immediately? Okay.
also last meeting, I asked you if we could go to update the code cycle to the 2021s. The 2024s will be coming out, but I believe the city is more apt to go to the 2021s. Most people are under the 2021s right now, have been for a few years. And if you're under the 2021s, you're gonna skip a code cycle anyway. Okay? So you would go 2021s and then you would not catch the next one, you'd catch the next code cycle. So this would bring you more current. I know you guys had talked about the ISO a while back, and you do start to lose points when you go more than 2 code cycles down. So you're getting ready to hit that point too.
What are we on, which one were you?
You're under the 2015s.
2015,
Yeah.
okay.
And I've talked to Dave Lindsay with the city, and he acts like if we go, he'll have a little more leverage to
Leverage
go. Yeah.
Gotcha.
You can't guarantee anything with the municipalities, but they do tend to follow suit with the fire districts.
Okay.
So, and what this means is it's a lot of work for me and Donna, but the facilities that'll be impacted the most would probably be your marijuana grow facilities where the oil extraction is taking place. So,
Any motion?
yes.
Yeah, make a motion, we go to the 2021 codes.
I'll second.
Roll call, Pat,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
and Ken is absent. And then, so we'll start work on that, because we'll have to post it.
Yeah,
and we'll do
so
the
that'll
proper
take about
vote
3
again,
months.
yeah.
It'll probably take us a month to get it ready, and then about 3 months after that, so it's not gonna happen immediately.
Okay.
Okay, it's quite a
It's
bit of work.
process,
Yeah,
Yep.
so, and really, that's all I have for you tonight. Thank you.
Cool. What's the deal on the right construction variance? Did we agree to that, or
We're still
We're still-
tabling that.
tabling that? Okay. Okay. Old business.
I have no old business.
I think Mr.
The survey. So, the survey, the chief will be sending out the link tomorrow. Assistant chief has 20-some random envelopes there with the pin in it. He'll be going around to pass everybody out their pin number. The link will be active until midnight on December 7th, so that's over 2 weeks. And it will work on a tablet or a phone, but I would recommend you do it on a PC because there is a section in there where you can make comments. So unless you want to text type for a lot, it'd probably be easier if you do it unless you have a keypad for your tablet. So, but he'll get with you and pass out the pins. They're in. He's got random envelopes. They're all sealed, so we have no idea who's getting what pin, and all the pin do will allow you access and track that it's done. So it'll be anonymous. We won't know who submitted what, and minus comments, it takes about 10 minutes to do the survey, to go through it, as far as like clicking and choosing boxes and that. So, like I said, this is an opportunity for input, and we did make it so it's 100% anonymous, and we won't know who said what, and that's the reason for what we talked about for the pins. So he'll start handing those out tonight, and then he'll get with each shift. So if there's any,
That link will be out tomorrow.
yeah, so, I said the chief will send out the link tomorrow, but you will get your pin, and don't lose it, because if you do, you'll have to get with me, and then we'll have to get her to make another pin. But like I said, that's the way in order to keep it anonymous, I just had her generate 28 random pin numbers. So if anybody has any questions, like I said, this is your chance for input to help us to do the best we can for the district. So.
Okay. And nothing else on old business?
I have nothing.
New business.
I have no new business.
Okay. Labor report, Mr. Simpson.
I was gonna follow up with him, so
Okay.
that answered that. And obviously, you guys got the policies, we've been working on that, so I got nothing else for this month.
Can't hire, Fleet.
New tires.
We get our truck back?
Yep, it's back. We don't have all the equipment yet. Some of the rest of the stuff is about 2 weeks out, so, but it's here. We're using it. We got new tires on everything.
Cool.
We're getting all the PMs done this week, and we'll be doing pump tests next week, so.
Cool.
Should have everything done for the end of the year.
Community outreach. Courtney, got anything?
I have no updates.
Nothing? All right. Good and welfare.
The only thing I have under good and welfare is just to remind the board, if we do a regular board meeting in December, I believe that's on the 18th, we would like to recognize our firefighters Noonan and Cope for their 25 years of service that night. We'll have some light refreshments and other cupcakes or something, invite some immediate family up. So if that's still the date for the board, that will work for their schedule.
Shoot for that.
And that's all I had under good and welfare.
How long do we want to wait for Rick?
He said it'd be 15, 20 minutes, and so he should be here maybe in the next 5. I can call him real quick.
Okay. We'll wait a few minutes for Mr. Robin. You're up, sir.
All right, very good. So why don't we start with the October financial? And then what we're gonna do is roll into the budget. This way we'll understand what's going on. So what we're gonna do is go to page 2 of the financial statement, so you can see what's transpiring. You can see we're trending down, but we're still gonna be over budget when it's all said and done. So keep that in mind as we move forward. October, 10 months in, threshold, 83.3%. So right now, we're at 85.74, 2.44% over budget. Now, what is that in dollars? Every 1%, about 47,000. So right now, we're about 113,000 over budget. But we're gonna trend down slowly. You'll see that here as we move forward. How about October last year? You can see 6.78 under, wound up 8.45 under. So you can see that trend we're talking about. How about the 22? 8.76 under, wound up 8.87 under. So you can see not a significant swing. And then in 21, 6.63 under, wound up 7.55 under. So in each of these years, we get a little better. We're just not going to get a lot better. So keep that in mind. We will be over. So let's turn to the next page. Let's see what's transpiring. So if you look up above, categories 1 through 7. Category 3 is over and under. So if it's bold and checked, we're already over budget. Revenue, good news. On the expense side, not so good. Category 4, 83.3% is our threshold. Category 6, the difference between the first 10 months of this year and the first 10 months of last year. So let's start up above. Let's start with revenues. Tax dollars right now, 87.62. Compared to last year, you can see we were less, but we knew that when we set the tax rates because sales tax rolled that back. How about fire marshal permits? Look at that. Fire marshal's office doing a great job. $93,181 more than anticipated. And compared to last year, $77,248. So good news there. Looking down, you can see sales tax, we're at 97.84. So you can see 2.2, we're going to be close to 2.7 when it's all said and done. We only budgeted 2.3. So while expenses are going to be about $100,000 more, revenue is going to be even more significant. So look at this, 93.37. We only have 314,000 to go. Look up above. We're going to talk about, we're going to probably bring in another 400,000 on the revenue side just in sales tax. So again, the little bit we're going to be over in the expenses is going to be far exceeded by what we're going to bring in revenue. So when you look at it, we'll be in good shape all the way around. How about on the expense side? Looking down below, first category, dues and subscriptions, 89.12. We're about 4,000 ahead of last year, but keep in mind, most of those occur early in the year, once a year. So we're going to be on target, on budget in that category. How about the next one? Well, that's our employee health. Those are our physicals. That's taking the physical and payment. We're at 84.32. So keep in mind, we still anticipate we're going to be on budget in that category, still more than timing. How about the next one? Equipment maintenance. This one's going to go over. You're at 97.28. We only have $953 to go. So once again, your late December numbers here in October, and we're about 19,000 ahead of last year. So again, first category we know for the expense category going over. The next one, you can see insurance employee, that's already over budget. That has all to do with workers' comp. So keep in mind, that's built into next year, we'll be fine, but this year we have to get over the hurdle, 71,242 more than anticipated. Compared to the year before, 135,801. How about the next category, insurance general, 97.48? Well, that's our property and casualty, already paid in full. So that means what? We'll be on target, on budget there. Compared to the year before, only $2,445 more. Then we look down, you can see the next category is going to be payroll taxes. We're at 84.88, 20,417. And the reason we're in this position is because unscheduled overtime. You're going to see that here in just 1 minute. Professional fees right now, $4,783 more than anticipated. Compared to the year before, $24,816 more. And then we look at the retirement plan. Keep in mind, that should be on target. That's based on salaries at 16%. Then we look down at unscheduled overtime. You can see that $36,085 more than anticipated. We still have 2 months to go. Compared to the year before, $29,212. And the next category going over, look at vehicle maintenance, not to be unexpected. We're at 96.68, 44,151 more. But keep in mind, about 18,000 of that represented the hailstorm from the year before that got fixed this year. Had that not occurred, we would have been a lot closer in that category. So right now we're at 85.74. You can see expenses up 612,000, 18.14. Most of that was anticipated and budgeted, but a couple thousand of this was not, and that's where we're going to be over budget. Again, it's going to be a little less than 100,000, but the revenue is going to far exceed that number. So let's just go to the bond versus going through all of the general like we always do, that way we can get into the budget. Turn to page number, they're circled at the bottom. We're gonna go to page number 39. So keep in mind on page 39, this way we can keep track of what's in that capital projects account, the bond account. So you can see we've got about 4.2 million as of the end of October 31st. So that's the capital projects, that's where the buildings come from, all the apparatus, all the equipment gets paid out of this account. If you go to page 40, you can see interest this month, $16,435. Look at the expenses, $15,182. We brought in more interest in the month than we actually spent. So that's good news. It's gonna make this bond fund last a lot longer. If you go to the next page, page number 41, now you get an indication of where that bond money was spent. So you can see two expenses. One for Everon, the ADT commercial, and then Systech, $12,500. So again, 16,000 came in, 15,000 went out, so we're to the positive 1,200. That's good news. I wish every month we could be in that position on the bond. And then go to page 43, so you can get an indication of what's transpiring. This is year-to-date, far right-hand column, compared to last year, same thing. Last year, you can see we brought in that 4.4 on the bond. That's why we've got the money sitting in the account. And you can see interest year-to-date, $179,300. You go down, you can see where the money has been spent year-to-date compared to last year. And we spent, on page 44, you'll see $400,363. So we're only upside down, like $221,000, enough, meaning interest is coming in to offset a lot of these expenses that we're seeing just for this calendar year. So with that, that's the financial report for the month of October. I'll be happy to address any questions anyone may have. All right, so let's jump into the budget. Now we're able to see that. So the first page we're going to go to in the budget is going to be page number 3. Page numbers are at the bottom. So keep in mind, this is the worksheet the committee used to put this budget together. So when you look at the numbers, 1 through 6 at the very top, category 1, 2, and 3, those are 3 historical years here at the district. So when we do the budget for 25, you can look back and say, does that look reasonable? Category 4, annualized. What does that mean? First 9 months were actual through September, and then from there we estimated October, November, December. Then we added 2 together. 9 months actual, 3 months estimate to come up with another 12-month number. So that could be a little fuzzy. Keep that in mind. May not be as accurate as what we have for the 3 columns before. Column 5, budget approved by the board last December. Column number 6, that's the proposed budget for fiscal year 25. So what we're going to do is compare 24 to 25. So let's start up above with tax collection. You can see $2,218,321, far right-hand column. That's an increase of $39,450. Keep in mind, when we set our tax rate in August, that was set in stone. So that number is good to go. Fire marshal's permits, look at that, $125,000. It's up $75,000 from this budget year. Look to the left, you can see, for the most part, that's about what we've been averaging for the last several years. Fire marshal's office, of course, always doing a great job. But then how about interest? Look what's transpiring. We're lowering that budget from 200 to 100, so that's going down by $100,000. Why? Interest rates are coming down. So we have to be conservative when we look at this budget. Keep in mind, a lot of the interest we have is backloaded, so you're going to see a little bit more here in November and December. Miscellaneous, 0, just like last year. If anything comes in that's not accounted for, it'll go in that category, but that's best for the district. We're going to see a little bit more, not a little bit less. Same with sale proceeds, any asset that gets sold, same thing. We're not going to be anticipating, but if it happens, again, that'll be more revenue than was anticipated. And then we look at grants, same thing. Grants could come in, but right now, we're not going to anticipate anything until we know for certain. And then we look at sales tax. You can see 2.7 is going to be budgeted. You can see it's been climbing. So again, that's going up by $400,000. So the total for revenue, $5,143,321. That's an increase of $414,450 or 8.76%. Now how about on the expense side? Start with advertising. That's going down from $15,000 to $7,500. That's a $7,500 savings. You look to the left, you can see we've never spent more. So the committee was very conservative, thought that should be more than enough. Then we look at awards and recognition. That's also going down, being reduced by $5,000 from $15,000 to $10,000. Once again, you look to the left. We've never spent more than the 10, so that should be more than adequate. Building maintenance stations, that's going from $80,000 to $65,000, another reduction of $15,000. All you gotta do is look to the left and see once again, $65,000 has been more than adequate in the history of the district. Then we look at communication expenses, radios, T-Mobile, phones, pagers. That's going from $15,000 down to $12,000, another $3,000 savings for the district. Look to the left, you can see once again, we have never spent more than the $12,000. So then we look at dues and subscriptions. So you can see going from $11,500 to $11,600, that's a $100 increase, and that's only because additional resources we want to add here over at the district to allow us to participate more in the community. Next category, election expenses. Well, there is none. So that's a savings of $25,000. There's not election proposed at all for budget year 25. And then we look down to the next category. That's going to be employee health. Talked about that tonight. $30,000 being budgeted. You can see all the way to the left, that should be more than adequate based on what's occurred here in the past few years. Equipment maintenance, $35,000, staying the same. Once again, look to the left, should work. We'll see what transpires. Keep in mind with inflation, no one knows for certain if we're going to have an issue in regard to that. Equipment purchases, going to be zero. We budgeted $10,000 last year, did not spend it. Committee wants to continue to use the bond where possible, therefore that's another $10,000 savings. Equipment pagers, going from $3,000 to zero. Why? We moved it all up to the category communication expenses. So you can see that's pretty much where it's been recorded. So we just combined the two. So it's not like we're getting rid of it, it's just going up above into communication expenses up above. And then we look at the next category, fire prevention. $10,000 staying the same. Once again, look to the left, should be more than adequate. We've never spent more than the $10,000. And then we look at fuel, next category. We're going to lower that from $60,000 to $55,000, another $5,000 savings. Even though fuel, all of that is volatile, we realize that. Prices could go up, could stabilize. Look at our annualized number, $38,000. Look to the left, we've never come close to spending more than $55,000. So for at least one more year, that should work. We'll see what happens in budget 26. And then we get to insurance employee. This is going up, $308,366. It's going to be $1,046,271 compared to where we were this year. Why? More to do with workers' comp. We talked about going over this year. Workers' comp is the big number increasing within that category. It's based on two items. Salaries, as they go up, we pay more. And mod factor, that's based on utilization. So keep that in mind, that's what's driving this increase. Then we look at insurance general, $82,840. That's going up by $6,840 because of all the hailstorms in the area. It's been going up 6 to 9%. So unfortunately, insurance is the category we have no control over, and that's where all of our increases are coming from for the most part. Then we look down, office supplies, talk about savings. Again, Donna works hard. You can see that's going down by $3,000. You look to the left, again, we've never spent more than the $12,000, so we should be in good shape. A lot of the expenses in the past were based on the copier and copier maintenance. Well, that's no longer an issue, so we should be in good shape, and once again, she does a great job. Look at payroll taxes, $208,610. That's going up by $20,805. That's going to be based on salaries and salaries overtime. We're going to see that here in just a minute. Professional fees, going from 86.5 to 127.5. So keep in mind, that's going up by $41,000. The detail is going to be in here for that, like they are with all the other categories. The big addition is Lexipol for our SOGs. That's $24,500. We also increased legal fees because of the fact we've experienced more from the past. So again, that's also being included. So when you look on page 9 when we get there, you're going to see the breakout of our professional fees and why it has increased significantly. Then we look down. You can see retirement plan, that's based on our salaries and our percent, 16%, 71,513 more, 436,308 for next year. And then we get the salaries. Those are going to be increases on wages, 2,626,924. That's an increase of $346,959. Unscheduled overtime, again, that's going down from 175 to 100, $75,000 decrease. You look at the 100, for the most part, it should work. This year we had a lot of unusual items that happened, more of an atypical year. So as long as we're on a normal year, we'll be in good shape in that category. Then we look at supplies. These are cleaning supplies, things of that nature for the stations, going down by 10,000, 30,000 to 20,000. You look to the left. Other than the year we brought a new station in and restocked it, we've been under that number every single year. Supplies EMS staying the same at 15,000. You look to the left, you can see we're in good shape there. We always had that. Then we look at training and education, going from 10,000 to 75,000. That's a $25,000 reduction. All you got to do is look to the left. You can see 75,000 has been more than adequate in past years. How about uniforms? Staying the same at 53,000. No change there. Again, looking to the left, you can see been more than adequate in past years. Then we look at PP&E gear. So you can see what's transpiring there. It's going down from 45,000 to 10,000. That's a $35,000 reduction. Why? Because the bond can pay for most of the capital for PP&E or turnout gear. So that's what's going to be utilized as we move forward. Utilities, going from 100,000 to 85,000. That's a $15,000 subtraction. Savings, look to the left, you can see why, other than in 23 when we had issues with the air conditioner and things like that, we've never even come close to the 85,000. So even with rate increases, committee was comfortable we should be in good shape. And then vehicle maintenance, we talked about going over budget, look what's transpiring, going from 75,000 to 100. Keep in mind that this year's annualized number was about 15 to 20,000 for the hail damage that occurred the year before. We're not anticipating that to repeat. So again, $25,000 increase. So when you look at the budget for expenses, $5,234,553, it's going up. $584,083, 12.56. Keep in mind, 3 to 5% is inflation. The rest is some of the costs that are out of our control, like insurance. That's difficult for the district to move forward. So let's look at the bottom line. The bottom line, when it's all said and done, we're going to have a deficit, $91,232. So keep in mind, that's going to be subsidized by the reserve that we've been building up. Look to the left, and you can see what's transpired. So it's $169,633 different than our surplus from last year. Category 5, you can see what was projected, $78,402. Remember we talked about expenses going over? Well, you can see that in Category 4 compared to Category 5 on expenses. Looks like about a $37,000 difference. But look up in revenue, $5.2 million compared to $4.7. That's the difference we were talking about. Revenue is going to far exceed. Expenses are going to go over, but not by as much. Look at the bottom line, Category 4. We're anticipating a complete surplus of $507,000, but the budget only reflected $48,000 or $78,402. So that delta is going into the reserve. If that same delta happens next year, we won't have a deficit of $91,000, but at this point in time, we don't know we're going to continue to see that significant growth in sales tax. So that's the proposed budget for the general fund. I'll be happy to address any questions anyone may have. There's a lot of detail. We've got 2 more funds to go through. They're easy because they're pass-through. If you just page through, You'll look at all the detail the committee goes through for each. Page 5, you can see where the expenses begin, advertising, building maintenance. Page 6, in regard to the radios, cell phones, pagers, all the dues we talked about on page 6. Page 7, equipment maintenance. Top, you can see the physicals. Page 8, you get into insurance employee, which we talked about. So workers' comp at 7710, so you can see what's transpiring there. Page 9 are the professional fees we went through, the big one, Lexipol for the SOG. So keep in mind, that's a big number added to this year. Page number 10 begins retirement, supplies, training, and education. Page 11 gets into the utilities, the PP&E, and vehicle maintenance. And then page 12 just talks about the deficit being subsidized through our reserve. So we're going to go to page 14 now. That's debt service. Keep in mind, this is easy. It's a pass-through account. Monies collected really go to the retirement of our debt service or our bonds. So if you look up above, same categories, you can see tax dollars, $1,206,839. That's an increase of $10,889. When we set our tax rate in August, that got locked in. So look at interest, $5,000 last year, $5,000 this year. Why aren't we changing that? Look at the annualized number, $37,000. So we'll make our mark and then some. So when you look at revenue, $1,211,839, it's up by the same increase in tax, $10,889. That's 0.91%, or less than 1%. How about on debt service? This is the retirement of the bonds, principal and interest, $959,450. That's an increase of $75,032. Professional fees staying the same at $2,000, no change. That's for your paying agent and Gilmore and Bell to do your bond disclosures. So keep in mind, $961,450 on the expense side. That's an increase of $75,032, or 8.46%. So we're still going to have a surplus, $250,389. That goes into the debt service bank account to retire future bonds. So that's $64,143 less. So that number will be less each year, but nonetheless, we're building up the account for future debt service payments. All right, so the last page we're going to go to is page 17. That's capital project. That's the one we looked at tonight that had that $4.2 million in it. So if you look at the same two categories up above, you can see we're only going to budget $10,000. We know we're going to bring in significantly more than that. We had $16,000 just in the month of October. But nonetheless, it goes in the bank account for future capital projects. And then we look down, capital assets. What's being proposed this year? $2,131,264. That's $246,205 below where we were last year. So the delta difference, $2,121,264, comes right out of that 4.2 we looked at in bank account. So what items are being proposed? Just turn to the next page, and you'll see what the committee has earmarked. Just look under budget 25, and you'll see the ladder fully equipped. That's the big purchase coming in this year. Look down below. Remember we talked about PP&E? Turnout gear, $34,000. Look down below. Other equipment, $25,000. Computer technology, IT is going to be big in the fire service as time goes on, like any other business, $20,000. So you can see 2.1, there it is right there. That's what's being proposed. But it also gives you a look at 26 and 27 as we start to exhaust the bond money for the district. So this gives you an idea. Now keep in mind, a budget is no more than an appropriation. It is not an authorization to spend. That still has to come before the board. These are no more than appropriations that your committee worked hard on and spent a lot of time to get to this point. So with that, those are the proposed budgets for 2025. This is informational only tonight. We're not going to look for board approval till next meeting. Give the board plenty of time to do their due diligence and go through all that's been presented tonight. But I'll be happy to address any questions if anyone has any at this point. Very good. Thank you all very much. Appreciate
it, sir.
Once again, your committee did a great job.
And you too.
You're too kind, Chief.
Okay, we're gonna adjourn the closed session pursuant to RSNO 61-16021